Hey guys, Tinja Anderson here with the Special Care Planning Team at Mass Mutual Greater Houston. We are interviewing a very special group today. So we have with us Morgan McKay, who is the Chief Operating Officer with 29 acres. And since residential and transition planning is such a hot topic, we're really excited to have her here to tell us all about 29 acres. So welcome, Morgan.
Thank you for
Share with
having
us
me
all the things.
today.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, tell us all about 29 acres.
All right, will do. So 29 Acres is founded by an amazing group of parents. Deborah, Cotty, and Clay, they started it and found a group of parents that really had the same passion, the belief system of wanting more for their child when they became an adult. And so several families got together and really worked on building this concept and mission and vision of having a purposeful, joyful life as an adult. So our goal here is really to individualize the program for each client. So sometimes I say 29 acres is the hardest thing to talk about because it's so individualized.
So talk to us a little bit about the programs that 29 Acres has for our families.
Perfect. Yeah. So our first one that started was our Transition Academy. And our Transition Academy is a 2-year residential program for higher functioning adults with autism who really want to have a launchway into independence. And what that looks like is a little different for every person, just like you and me. Our adult path is different. And so our job with our Transition Academy is to create a pathway, whether it's taking college classes through a community college, through a university, maybe a trade school, maybe it's just launching right into a purposeful job with employment. The other part is learning the residential side, how to cook, how to clean, what is an insurance card, how do you fill a prescription, how do you make a doctor's appointment, that daily living life skills side. And then we also really work on like budgeting, things like that. And then the whole time, what they're doing is they're taking classes where they're really getting that lecture, being able to work with groups, have guest speakers come in, go to different places to have that hands-on experience, and then being able to generalize it into their own home work setting. So it's definitely a 2-component with the classroom, the lectures, the projects, the homework, but then the hands-on, being able to go apply it right then is so valuable. And our outcome data is pretty amazing from that program. So this will be our 3rd group that we're doing right now. And our first group that graduated this past summer, when they started, nobody in that group was employed. At the end of the 2 years, 83% of them were employed. None of them were able to live independently, meaning outside of their parents' house. Currently, 83% of them are living outside of their parents' house now. 33% of them said that they really didn't have a friend. Again, 83% now said they have a friend. So even things like that are such a social significant impact that these guys can have. So that's our first program, our Transition Academy. And then our next one is our enrichment program. And then our enrichment program is really for the full spectrum of autism. So we have guys and girls who really are more impacted with autism, who need one-on-one support to really live their best life. And then we have other guys and girls who really need very minimal support. Maybe they're in college and need support with the social emotional side, or maybe they need help with finances and budgeting. So really the full spectrum. And within that, we really create a life plan that outlines their goals, their targets, what they want to work on now, short-term goals, long-term goals, and help them succeed in any way possible. With our Enrich program, we have 2 different kind of main pathways, I would say. One pathway is a 9 to 5 day program. So you don't actually have to live with us to still participate in Enrich. Our other program is can be a short-term or a lifetime opportunity of our residential houses here. So you can live with us and you can choose to use Enrich as your provider to help with any kind of care, goals, activities that you need.
So for real quick for the enrichment program,
Mhm.
how many slots do you have available, I guess, for the Transition Academy too? Are you guys pretty full with both programs, or is there enough room for some families if they want to get them in at the beginning of the year to kind of go through your onboarding process?
That's a great question. So with our Transition Academy program, we have right now 9 students, and we call them our freshmen is our first year and our sophomores are their second year. So we have 9 students in each. For that program, it starts every summer in about August. We already have like 4 people accepted into our program right now for the 2021 start class. So it definitely has a start date and an end date for our Transition Academy, that 2 years. And the main reason is because it has that class component. So they're working through the curriculum. So that's our Transition Academy. And then for our Enrich program, we do have a certain amount of spots of beds available at our living component. But our day program, we don't really have an ideal cap right now. It just depends on what they want in their life plan and goals, and how we're able to meet that more than a number, I would say.
For the residential side, when we're talking about using the enrichment program as a provider and then having them stay on with you guys for the evenings and the residential side, you mentioned kind of like the broad spectrum of the level of need. So you have the one-on-one, then you have more of the higher functioning, you got some kiddos in the middle. For the one-on-one, let's just say the more severe kiddos that need more support, do you have beds or openings for them, or is it more so for the higher functioning and the more severe kiddos can only really come for the day side of things?
Absolutely. That's a great question. No, our residential component right now, we have 8 houses. And out of these 8 houses, 3 of them are like our Transition Academy, that first program houses, and the rest are houses that anyone else can use. And with our residential side, it's 2 separate components. So we have our residential side and then our supports and services. So with the other houses, what happens is you apply to live here, and then you can choose who you want to provide your services. And enrichment is a service provider, and that's everything from helping with budgets, cleaning, all of our fun activities, friendships, social skills, anything that you want is the provider side.
Gotcha.
But you can also live here and have someone else support you. So you don't have to choose 29 acres to provide your supports and services.
So with the 8 houses that you guys currently have, are you planning on expanding those houses anytime soon?
Oh, that's a great question. We are looking at building 2 more houses this summer. We currently have a capital campaign going that's going great. And yeah, they should be ready about the end of August. And then after those 2, we will be set for quite some time.
Awesome. And you said there was 3 programs. I know I cut you off to ask about the Enrichment 29 and the Transition Academy. What's that 3rd program that you were about to tell the families?
Yeah, so our 3rd program is our vocational program. And really a big part of living a purposeful life is having some sense of employment, volunteering, being a good citizen. And so, so we are actually a Texas workforce vendor, and you do not have to be in our Transition Academy or our enrichment program to use our employment services. You can go through Texas Workforce and choose 29 acres as a vendor, and we can provide those services, meaning we can help people find employment jobs.
Awesome. And so if a family wants to engage with you guys, with COVID going on, do you do virtual tours right now, or is it the tour for families kind of put on hold till things clear up? What's the situation there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are doing virtual tours right now. And we are also doing in-person tours, but just like one family unit at a time. And all of our tours right now are individually scheduled.
And when families look at this and they want to set up the tour and all that, when it comes to funding, are you guys private pay? Do you accept Medicaid funding or some other assistance funding? What's the situation like that?
Yeah, I love this question. This has actually been my biggest project in 2020, I would say, is the funding. And we do know taking care of a high quality care of adults is costly. So we have really worked hard to have multiple sources or banks of funding. So that first one is that Texas Workforce Funding to help with employment services. And with Texas Workforce, they do several different sides of employment, whether it's just job coaching, whether it's helping them find the job. Maybe you're more impacted with autism and need more of like a supported employment approach. So definitely the Texas Workforce Funding. Our Enrich side especially is all supervised and overseen by BCBAs. Our staff are registered behavior technicians or RBTs. So we also are credentialed as an insurance provider with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, and United currently. Definitely expanding still. So we are definitely able to capture some insurance funds as well. And then this is breaking kind of news. We have our first two clients that are using some Texas Home Living funds to support as well. Definitely a whole process, but I think that's a big part of 29 Acres is committed to look at every funding source possible.
Awesome. Well, that is big news. I know some families are pretty excited about that. Sometimes private pay is tough, or what we've seen when it comes to private pay is they can do it, but just maybe not right now. They might have to wait a few years to keep on saving and be able to do that program. So that's exciting that you have two first clients using Texas Home Living funding. That's huge.
And really, we have one client now that's able to dip into all three of these buckets. And so that really significantly drops the cost of the private pay, making it affordable using their Texas Home Living, some of that Texas Workforce Commission, and some insurance money to pay for different services throughout the day.
That's awesome. And I just had another question and it just slipped my mind, but I'm sure it will come back. So when we talk about 29 Acres, what would you say separates 29 Acres from the other providers, either through the employment vocational providers or the residential providers in the area? What would you say really separates you guys from others?
Yeah, I would say what I've seen our biggest strength is really individualizing the programs. I always say it's so hard to explain what your typical day would look like because there's not a typical day around here. Everyone's day, everyone's goals, everyone's outcomes are different, and that's on purpose because everyone lives such a different life. So it's I think within our core, I would even say our number one core value is to make sure everything is really individualized and done with purpose.
Gotcha. The question I was going to ask was, so the Transition Academy is 2 years, so I can assume what age group we're going after, but for the residential side of things, for families that are looking maybe in the next 5 years to find a placement for their kiddos long term, what's the average age right now of the young adults in your residential program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Transition Academy is definitely young adults 18 through like 26 right now. Our Enrich crew, though, is more like 18, and our oldest is like 52. Definitely the average would be more in the early 20s, but we do have some older guys who live with us and enjoy life just as well. And then with our employment program, it's definitely a wide range.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you want to mention that maybe we forgot to ask about that you want to highlight real quick before we wrap up the interview?
Yeah, I have one more thing I forgot to talk about is we do also have a summer camp. And the summer camp is 7 weeks long. You can come all 7 weeks. You can come 1 week. There's definitely flexibility on the timing. And it's for ages like 16 to like young adult. But that's a great way if you're looking just to get like a taste with 29 Acres or just see what we're more about. Definitely summer camp is a great way to start. And summer camp is amazing. We have a whole adaptive boat program where we go like wakeboarding. We went paddleboarding, kayaks. We go on like day trips. So we definitely have a lot of recreation fun, but we also really work on those daily independent living skills. We do a lot of volunteer work as well. to work on those vocational skills. So it's a really fun summer, but has a lot of educational component.
For the summer program right now, are you guys taking applications, or is there a certain date that you guys will open up families to start applying for that?
We're looking for like mid-February to start applying.
Well, let us know. We'd love to make sure, because that sounds like a nice little break too for families to let their kids have some fun, and also the educational piece. That's huge.
Yes, and
So,
even with COVID, we did summer camp last summer too, and we'll do it again this summer. And we just really keep everyone in really small groups, and we have a lot of COVID precautions in place. So I know that's a concern of some families, but definitely small groups, hand washing, temperature. We have so many things in place.
awesome.
Love it.
Well,
Thank you so much for joining us.
yeah, thank you so much, Morgan. I appreciate you taking some time out. We can't wait to get this out. I know a couple of families that are really high on 29 acres. And really how we learned a lot about you guys too is through the transition fairs that we've been a part of, but also a couple of families introduced us to 29 acres. So we're excited for you guys. I think it's huge that you guys are building 2 more houses and expanding that program, and keep us posted on the summer program. We would love to get that out to our families when that becomes available.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morgan.